Oh yeah, wrapping up our three-part warrior history on samurai. So I started my first one with, of course, Miyamoto Musashi, probably the most famous samurai. Wrote the Book of Five Rings. My dog's namesake, Sashi. So then we went on to one of his contemporary samurai, someone that lived in the same time period, although they never fought. They kind of were rivals, Munenori. And Munenori wrote on the sword as a tool, to give life, to take life, how to use it for protection, for offense, for defense, how to use the weight with no sword. While Miyamoto Musashi's works deals a lot with how to use the warrior's mindset, the warrior's philosophy everywhere in life. Munenori talks about giving back to his family, the family sword, right? He has children, he wants to teach them the ways. And also on the sword as a tool, and how everything is just the way that you use it. And he also talks a lot about how things are a mirror. You know, you don't get mad at the mirror, it only shows you what's there. Interpretation is subjective. So the third person I want to talk about is the monk Takuan Soho, and he writes to Munenori. Munenori is also the teacher of the shogun and the shogun's children, so he's a pretty famous coach as well. And Soho writes to the samurai Munenori about Zen philosophy and Buddhist philosophy and how he can apply it to the sword. And I found that really fascinating. He calls his work the Unfettered Mind. So he talks about like the next level principles of being a warrior, right? Like not stopping your mind anywhere. So he says, if I look at one leaf on the tree, I lose sight of the whole tree, right? So as a metaphor for life, if you focus on one thing, you lose sight of everything around it. And for the warrior, right, if you start to think about the tip of your sword, your mind is stuck in the tip of your sword. I know I had actually a good experience with this the other day. I was training, and I was training with a guy who's very good in jiu-jitsu at leg locks. And I'm thinking, all right, don't get into a leg lock position. And once we got into a position like that, my mind kind of got stuck on the legs, right? I was like, okay, I'm thinking about legs, and then what happens? You get stuck in legs, right? That's what you're thinking about. And a couple of days later, I was like, oh, I was reading The Unfettered Mind, and you could read something a lot of different times and apply it, not apply it. In combat, things are moving very quickly. It's not Zen Buddhism. So I was like, don't let your mind go anywhere. And I just kind of flowed, and it definitely was interesting to try not to let the mind stop anywhere, right? So I'm going to show you, don't let the mind stop there. Where can I go to? Just keep flowing. And very interesting mental exercise. A lot easier to do in regular life than it is in combat. So a lot of times we apply these philosophies of the sword, and Takuan Soho said the same thing to Munenori. He said you apply the philosophy here to everything, and when we apply it to the sword, don't get stuck on any one technique. Right? Don't get stuck on any point in the sword, or stuck on your opponent. Wherever you get stuck, you'll get stuck there. Wherever your mind stops, that's where the action might stop, and you want to be fluid, right, in battle. And then if we apply this to life, right, a lot of times we'll get stuck in our head on something. Something will happen in a day, and that'll be in our head the whole day. And then all our energy is on that. And then it makes it difficult for us to apply our energy to other places. So by having the unfettered mind, the mind that's unchained to any particular outcome or any particular setback, you're able to use your energy right at the forefront for anything that you need to do. And in combat, especially valuable, since it takes so much energy, and it's really a contest of two opposing energetic forces. My energy, my desire for victory, and to get out my technique, and your energy, your desire to nullify my technique and get out your own technique, becomes a huge energy struggle. And if your mind stops on any one point of it, you can get fixated there, and that's how a lot of losses happen, right? You get stuck in a certain moment, and very common in combat, of course, a heightened life experience. So when we extrapolate that heightened experience, we can slow it down in regular life. And if we find ourselves having our mind tethered to something, probably be wise, especially according to the takuan soho, to let the mind be free and go where it needs to go. So I really liked the work of the three samurais that we studied. If you guys like this, if there's anyone else you want to see coming up on our warrior histories, let me know. And again, to recap the samurai, Musashi, the way of the warrior in all things. Munenori, the sword is a tool, give life, take life, protect, destroy, the way with no sword. And then the works of takuan soho, how to free your mind, unfetter it, and let it be wherever it needs to be, and put your energy wherever that energy needs to be. Oh yeah, warrior history.